Hey guys, I'm Ben from Streetlight and welcome to the Street Eats Kitchen. We're here with our latest Street Eats dietitian.
Hey guys, I'm Naomi and yep, I'm a dietitian, but really I'm a food enthusiast and not a chef. So everything we do together, I'm learning just as much as you are.
So we're keen to encourage you guys to pick up some ingredients to get cooking with us and have some fun along the way.
Yeah, and because we're going to be cooking from home, we're going to have a pause function so that you can press pause at your own time, do your cooking and come back to the video when you're ready.
Awesome, so we have some little Street Eats recipe cards and you can find them in the link below and you can download them, print them out and have them ready with you whilst we're going. So let's get started.
Let's get started. Hey guys, I'm Naomi and today we're going to be cooking some spaghetti and meatballs. We have all of the ingredients we need here ready to go, but something that's really good to do before you start the real cooking of a meal is to complete something called mise en place. And it's a fancy French term for essentially getting everything chopped and ready to go. So what we need to do mise en place with is grate and peel our vegetables as well as cut our onion. So we can start with the onion, but beware, they may make you cry, by taking off the top and the bottom. Another thing to mention when you're cutting, if you're new to cutting or anytime you need a reminder, is to try and claw your fingers like this as much as you can without letting go of the vegetable to make sure that you don't chop your fingers off, like so. All right, cool. Then we'll chop it in half and take off the skin of the onion. All right. Okay. So it doesn't really matter how we cut it, but I am gonna try and dice my onion, which looks a bit like this. Remember the claw, and it's really just so they cut up into nice smaller shapes, but don't worry about the size too much. Really just so it's small enough to fit into the mixture. Nobody is perfect, particularly me. All right, so there's our onions all chopped and ready for when we need them. I'm gonna pop them to the side like so. Okay, we're going to peel our carrot now as part of our mise en place, like so. Take off the top and the bottom. Pop those other bits into the compost bin or a bowl that you might have. You can put all of your fruit and veg scraps and even other scraps of food and paper into a bowl and then put it into your green bin. Or into a chicken coop. And then we also have our zucchini, which we don't really need to peel, but I will take off the top and the bottom. Now the rest of the mise en place is just to grate our vegetables in this section. I have a very fancy grater, but whatever you have will do. Okay. So close to my fingers. I'm just gonna eat this. Woo! Okay, cool. Now we have grated all our veggies. We're almost to the end of our mise en place. I'm gonna pop them in a bowl to the side, and then we can get started onto step one. Okay, so step number one is popping your meat into a bowl. I'm gonna try and not touch the meat too much because when you play with mince with your hands, it can change the texture when you cook it on the other end. And I want it to stay as soft as possible. To add extra flavor to this meat, I'm gonna pop in some pepper. You can go crazy with the pepper, whatever you need to do, and a little bit of salt. We don't need to add too much salt because we're going to be adding some later in the tomato sauce. Okay, final thing I'm gonna add is oregano. I'm gonna be quite generous because I love herbs. And it's worth noting that if you want to try this without meat, you can actually change the mince for something like lentils, and it turns into really great lentil balls instead of meatballs. Okay, this is where we don't want to use our hands too much, but we need to in order to turn them into round spheres. And mix in the herbs. Okay, I think that's all right. I'm going to keep them kind of small. Make sure they stay together like this. All right, again, no perfect size with these things. So that's all our meatballs done, and now it's on to step 2. You can pause the video here and then come back when you're ready. So step 2 is cooking the meatballs and then placing them to the side before we cook the rest of the sauce. I'm going to put a bit of oil onto the pan like so, and then heat it up before I put on our uncooked meat. There we go, medium heat will do just fine, and then just make sure that oil is spread around the pan. I'm going to use tongs to place them just in case I have any kind of oil jumping out at me. I got a bigger pair of tongs because it was kind of a bit hot for me, but we're going to turn these around to make sure that all of the meatballs are turning brown on the outside. Make sure that your meatballs are looking nice and brown on all edges, and then we'll pop them onto a new clean plate to set aside for later. So once your meatballs are nice and brown on all of their sides, we're going to take them out, turn the heat off for the second, and pop them on a new fresh clean plate so that you don't have uncooked meat touching cooked meat. Just be really careful of oil. If it's jumping up on you, you don't want to get any kind of burns. For step 3, we're going to start cooking the spaghetti because we want it to be ready just as our sauce is nice and cooked. I've just boiled the kettle, which saves a bit of time when you're boiling pasta, so you don't have to wait for it to boil in an open pot. And here is a cool hack on how to open a spaghetti packet. Hold it nice and tight. Hold it up here. Hi! We probably only need about half of this packet for the amount we're cooking. So, this much. Turn the heat on so it stays boiling. And then add your salt so that your pasta can cook nicely and have a bit more flavor. Okay. When it comes to adding the pasta, you can actually twist it like this so it sits nice and splayed, and then sits around your kitchen like so. I'll watch it to make sure it doesn't catch any flames from the gas heater, and then when they start softening, I'll push it back in so they're all covered by the water. Just softening that pasta so it's all sitting in there nicely. So we can wait for the pasta to boil for about 8 minutes and then do a few tricks to see if it's cooked to our liking. But for now, we can move on to step 4. Step 4 here, we're going to add in the onion, garlic, and then the carrot and zucchini we grated into the same pan we were using before. Onion. And I'm using minced garlic today to save a bit of time. Get a bit of colour into the onions. As you can see, it's soaking up all of that oil from the meat we cooked before, so that's good. And then you can add in your carrot and zucchini and we'll stir or leave it to sit for about 4 minutes before we add some more things. Once it's had a bit of time to cook with the vegetables, you can add the tomato sauces, like so. Bueno. And about half of this passata jar. And about half of this passata jar. We don't need to use the whole thing. That's about half. And the other thing I'd love to add, if you have it at home, if you grow it, or if you've got some from a store, is some basil, because that's a nice flavor. I've got half of my basil here and I'm gonna place it in like so. So we get a nice basil cook. Let's taste. There we go. Pretty. So now you want to turn your sauce heat to low simmer for about 5 minutes, and we'll be looking at our pasta before we come back to this sauce. I think our pasta is ready to go. It feels soft in there, but there is a nice fun test you can do to see if it's nice and al dente, which is soft. I am going to try and get a strand. My dad taught me this. Hot, hot. Then you're going to throw it onto the wall, and if it sticks, it's ready to eat. Okay, ready? Hooray! Ready to go. Into a colander. Plop. Great. We're almost there at step 5, where we're going to add our pre-cooked meatballs back to our sauce mix. All right. There's no perfect art to this one either. Just plop them in when you're ready so they soak up that good flavor and get that final cook through that we want. Looks like they're nicely cooked and staying nicely firm. The only thing left to do for this step is to make sure that the meat is cooked through so there's no red bits on the inside. So just pick one sample meatball, pop it on a plate, and then we'll cut it in half. I'll pop it back in. Oh, I squished it, that's all right, there's plenty of other meatballs. And we are ready to go to serve. So for our final step, this is your last chance to have a taste test to see if it needs any more flavors adding. So I'm gonna go for this, blowing it. That's quite good. I really like extra herbs and spice, so I'm gonna add a little bit more oregano. La la. Mix it through with your cooking utensil, and then you're ready to plate up. So we'll grab our spaghetti, la la. And with spaghetti and plating up for your friends or family or just for yourself, there is no perfect way to plate up, so don't worry about how it looks. However, it's always a fun thing to try and keep it all looking kind of cool. Great. As for our meatballs, I would say for one person, maybe 2 or 3 would be a good serve size. And make sure you get lots of that yummy tomato sauce and veggies. Aha, alrighty. There we have it. Our final garnish can be some of your leftover basil, like so. Baby basil, big basil, very nice. And if you like cheese, you can sprinkle that as well. Sprinkle a little bit of cheese. So there we have it. That is our spaghetti and meatballs. I hope you've had fun cooking in the kitchen, but I really hope that you like your dish. I'll see you next time, and make sure to check out our other cooking videos.
I hope you've enjoyed cooking with us today. I know that we certainly have. We hope you enjoy your meal. We would love to see a photo of what you've prepared. So take a photo before you dig in and send it to us at Streetlight Community on either Facebook or Instagram, and tag us at #StreetEats. Please keep an eye out for other videos that we're going to be uploading with some other tasty meals that you can prepare for yourself and your family.
See you next time.
See you next time.